Complex. Complex. Complex.
Hearing all this, that, and this, and that. Tell the truth, nigga. Whack. Your top 10 is anonymous. Your top 10 is anonymous. Your top 10 is anonymous.
All right, what's poppin'? This is your boy AJ Dubs here to motivate, inspire, and dedicate my service to helping you find your legacy. Today's story is called The Bench. This is about a math teacher who wanted to be an accountant. Started from the beginning, this math teacher, who was a student, a college student at the time, had a lot of great knowledge. I mean, he was fresh out of college. He just graduated. He knew how to inspire students. He really had really good skills doing his student teaching at the time. And he knew he was great at numbers, financial literacy, and things like that. So as soon as he gets out of school, he ends up struggling. He ended up going on about 7 or 8 interviews because he wanted to be an accountant. That was his, biggest goal. He wanted to be a great accountant because he knew, how to help with financial literacy. So he went on about 7 or 8 interviews and he got denied. And he ended up having to do substitute teaching for actual math at the time. Now, the struggles that he went through, he ended up losing his house, his car. At the time, the place that he had apartment, lost his car, couldn't find, the job that he wanted. He moved back with his mother. And he ended up doing small classes for high school, about 9th, 10th grade, algebra, geometry, any kind of math that he can get onto to actually teach to make some money for himself before he could try to get an accounting job. So one day he was in a class with some students, and the subject came up about financial literacy. This young man got on the board and actually taught them how to actually save money to invest. Taught them about stocks and bonds. Taught them about assets. How to buy a house. What kind of contracts you can have to get a type of home, or how much money you can put into it. Was doing great things. And he got to a point where he ended up forgetting about accounting because he was having such a hard time trying to find a job that he decided to take his mind away just by doing the substitute teaching. It got so great to a point where even the principal wanted to hire him as a full-time teacher. But the next point to this is this: you never know who is going to see you when you're doing great things. So while he was teaching those students at the time about financial literacy here and there, just little small lessons outside of the school lessons that he was teaching, the school had a security guard who actually did security guard time for part-time. But his full-time job was he was actually a partner at an accounting firm. Once he heard the young man talking the way he was talking, telling them about financial literacy, he ended up giving this young man a card and told him to give me a call. I have an actual accounting firm that maybe you could be a great asset to. You never know who's watching, guys. This is why when you do things in the world, make sure you're doing good things because they always come back to you. You'll be surprised who's watching you, who's willing to work with you because they see your potential. But of course, you got to see it in yourself first. Right. So further along, he goes to the interview. And the funny thing about this is that he ended up getting the job, which was great. He got hired. But, being frustrated for being turned down so many times, it was kind of nerve-wracking for him. But he was finally relieved that he got the chance to get, do what he loved, which is being an accountant. So fast forward years later, he ends up being one of the top accountants in his firm, actually the top, making the company millions of dollars. But the great part about it was this: he used the job as the actual schooling for himself to start his own firm. Fast forward from today, he is now the owner of his own accounting firm, known as a visionary, and actually got to what you call a prolific status. I'll say that again, a prolific status. So what is prolific? Prolific is having the vision for something and making it come to fruition. Like I said, guys, there is bumps and bruises you have to go through to get where you want to be. Now, really think about this. If it was just given to him, do you think he'd appreciate it as much? Or is going through the bumps and bruises all worth it? So would you rather go through a hard time and quit? Or would you rather go through a hard time and be successful? I think that brings more gratitude, and I think that brings more value to your life. So the point is, stay at it. You never know what you could become if you just stay at it. And that starts with the vision, the work in between, the bumps and bruises like we talked about, and reaching a prolific status. Everybody can do this. This is no magic trick to this, guys. Your mind can control what you want. Now, if you have any struggles, any problems, anything you need help with, please email me at originsxlegacies@gmail.com. That's origins with the Z, X, legacies with the IEZ on the end at gmail.com. Look forward to hearing from you. Until then, keep it pimpin', pimpin', and I'll see you on the next one.
Praying that I don't drown from this money fountain. Another million buried, that's thanks to my accountants. Hello world, I would like you to meet our worst nightmare on any Black Wall Street. I mastered the